Thank you, Shepard. Well, forget the weather bomb. Get ready for the tax bomb. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. Up to 30 inches of snow falling on parts of the East Coast today. But that storm is nothing compared to this one, a tax storm. And in Illinois, a big one. A Democratic Governor, Pat Quinn, is set to sign a 66% hike in the state's income tax. Says he has no choice. He's staring at a $15 billion budget deficit. Now, he declined to chat with us, but the governor of neighboring Indiana, Mitch Daniels, says it's kind of like living next door to the Simpsons. The potential presidential candidate will be with us later this hour to another neighbor, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, right now. Governor, what do you make of this?
Well, I got a simple message. I pulled this out of the archives. We used to have this for tourism. It's a bumper sticker that says "Escape to Wisconsin," and instead of sending it to tourists, we're going to send it to employers down in the state of Illinois because, boy, with their taxes going up through the roof, we want them to come to Wisconsin where we're going to actually cut taxes on employers and individuals and make it easier to do business here. It's a great contrast for us.
All right. Now, Governor Quinn says he's kind of in this sort of box, a governor that, he's staring at a $15 billion deficit. Spending cuts alone won't do it, that he has to do this, and then the scheme of things, taking the rate from 3% to 5% isn't really as huge as it appears. What do you say?
Well, I just don't buy that. We've got a massive budget deficit we inherited as well. We're going to do it by controlling things that not only balance this budget, but make sure we don't pass it on in the future. We're going to handle legacy costs, wage and benefit reform, local government reform, Medicaid reform, the things that in 2 years when we face our next budget will not put us in the same hole that Wisconsin and Illinois and so many other states are facing today. Instead, they're kind of rolling over and playing dead down there, assuming they can't do anything in Illinois. I think it sends a horrible message to employers. And for people looking to make a long-term investment, they look at where Illinois is headed with the massive tax increases and where it's going to head in the future, where they're going to need more budget reductions or tax increases in the future. Contrast that to Wisconsin, where we've shown we're open for business by proposing significant reductions in terms of taxes, litigation, and regulation costs. We think it's a great contrast for us in Wisconsin.
All right, you and your colleague and friend Mitch Daniels in Indiana, you're both Republicans. Governor Quinn is a Democrat. What's to stop me from saying, oh, you guys are just making political hay of this?
Well, in our case, I looked at this even before yesterday's vote and thought I was going to spend some time probably in March in both Chicago and St. Paul, because I think there are stark contrasts between where we're headed with new majorities in the state assembly and state senate. For us, this just accelerates that process. I mean, we had calls yesterday from employers. We've had calls today. We're going to proactively seek out employers out there and do more than just appear on TV. We're going to reach out because we're not only cutting taxes on businesses as well as cutting our regulation and litigation costs. We've actually proposed an incentive that would allow businesses like those maybe down in Chicago, Rockford, others to come up and have 2-year reprieve from corporate income taxes as a way of bringing jobs into our state.
Really? Have you had any takers on that, Governor? I know it's still early.
Well, I just proposed it last Monday. I was sworn into office on the 3rd. We called a special session of the legislature, and that's one of the many proposals we put in place to try and attract more jobs from both within the state as well as with something like that, more job creators from outside of the state. I think it's pretty enticing.
What would it take for you to increase taxes? I mean, I know the new mantra for a lot of Republicans is at all costs, no. But do you say never as well? Are you among those who signed that pledge, never entertain a tax hike?
Well, I'm not going to do it, and I very clearly stated it again last Monday in my inaugural address. And the big reason for that's not even just philosophical. It's the simple fact that in an economic crisis, at the last possible time you want to raise taxes, particularly on employers, I think that sends exactly the opposite message that we want, not only in our individual states, but across the country. And again, that's why you're going to see between Mitch and I, and not only is Illinois surrounded by 2 governors who want to cut taxes, 2 Harley-riding governors. I think that's a pretty good deal out there. But the bottom line is we're going to see a clear contrast between states that seek to balance their budget in a way that's sustainable and doesn't involve more damage to the economy, or doing what Illinois is doing, which I think is going to be a horrendous mess for them. And I think the Chicago Tribune had it right today. The 2 happiest guys this morning were myself and my friend Mitch Daniels, because we know we're going to be fighting over how many jobs come out of the land of Lincoln into the Badger State.
All right. Thank you, Governor.